Witam, Dziomek, dzień dobry Państwu. Witam z Europejskiego Forum Gospodarczego w Katowicach. A w naszym mobilnym studiu dzisiaj Jan Christoph Harder, prezes regionu zachodniego i północnego Skoda Group. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, Victor, thank you.
When cities invest in trams or trains, what are the main cost drivers beyond just buying vehicles?
Yeah, let's say, as you know, it's an entire system, and I think you cannot just start with the infrastructure itself, with vehicles. It's a city development, yeah, because you have to create the land, you have to take the land, you have to agree with the neighbors that they get a tram or a bus or a metro, which means long time for construction. Yeah, and so beside the vehicle, of course, it's the infrastructure, it's the signaling, it's of course the buildings for stations and for, let's say, stops. And at the end, it's also the entire system to create with the operations, which the operators have to organize.
So this is much really expensive investments. From your experience, how do mayors and city council decide that this really expensive investments really makes economic sense?
Yeah, we have one problem in the transport because we are talking about systems who are lasting, rails are lasting 100 years of life cycle. And our vehicles, for example, from Skoda last, or also other competitors last 30 to 40 years. So now imagine the politicians having 4, 5, 8 years of terms, and they should now be the ones deciding on this investment. So this is very tricky because they have to take the guts, they have to be visionary enough to really transform the city into a new mobility area.
And you must somehow think about how the city would look like in like 50 years.
Yes, that's exactly. It's a vision to transform the entire system and to really think about the needs in 10, 20 years.
And if you fail, the cost is high.
If you fail, the cost is high. However, I think especially due to the need of sustainability today and the climate targets we have, there's no other chance, and public transport has to grow in cities.
Okay. Can you give an example where better public transport really increased property values?
Yes. So as you know, I was working for Siemens in Alstom, and in France, for example, it's a very populated, also in smaller cities, tram systems. And they made an inquiry, and they found out that the land price with a tram system or a public transportation system increased over years by 20 to 40%. So the ones who were against were afterwards really becoming richer, yeah, because of the line, because the entire city or the street gets more attractive.
Okay, so we can say that investment in public transport is for everybody, not only the people who use them to travel.
Yes, it's definitely so.
Okay, what, from your perspective, makes integrated transport actually work in practice? I mean, where rails, trams, buses, bikes, and walking truly connect for passengers?
Let's say the biggest important thing is today that we have the means, we have the digital systems to create a seamless system, really combining, as you know, the scooters on the streets who everybody doesn't like because they are standing in the way. However, I used it just in Hamburg to be quick at the Elbphilharmonie, and I took myself the scooter over the Uber app. So the value is we have to integrate all these transport means, buses, metro, trams, and this is and regional trains who are bringing the people into the cities and into the regions. And this is the aim we have to fight for.
Okay. Many cities today talk about idea of a 15-minute city. What does it mean and how to achieve it?
Yeah, the 15-minute city, and I understood also here in Katowice we have one example out of the former time. It was reaching really all possible targets you need for the living, for the daily living within 15 minutes reach. This, of course, transformed a little bit in the past to have a shop, to have a doctor, to have a pharmacy. But today, of course, with the movement and the possibilities of public transportation, you have to reach that people and parts of the city are really not disconnected, and that they can reach hospitals or whatever, cultural centers, sports centers, within a 15 minutes reach.
So how can we achieve it?
We can achieve it by city planning with an integrated transportation planning. And here, of course, buses, metro, trams are very important to be used. And we have to really combine them, digitalize them. We have to push people and younger, not only younger, but also the older generations to use the mobile, to plan their trip. And then we can reach it. But, of course, it needs a huge investment. And it needs also a combined unity of operators. And this is something where we have a bus operator, we have a tram operator, we have a regional train operator, and everybody is separate. And this is making a little bit it complicated.
In Poland, I think we also have to change somehow the mentality, because nowadays people treat their private cars as the only mean of transportation. How to change that? How to influence people to use public transport more often?
I can give you an example, for example, of the city of Tampere. In 2016, the city council decided to have a tram system in the city. Tampere is, if you come there, it's like an American city. So straight lines and so on. And they decided 2016 to start the operation. And last year, they transported 50 million passengers. So they really attracted the people, and they did not only create a transport system, they integrated it in the cultural life. They use the tram as a arts thing, that they have stations with arts. They really attract the people, and comfort, and all the comfort you need today needs to be done to really attract the passengers.
Okay, so lastly, if you could give one piece of advice to European city leaders about prioritizing mobility investments, what would it be?
It would be, let's say, if you ask me, invest in public transportation. We are in a moment where it's the main topic due to sustainability and climate targets. The money is there. Use it intelligently. Take an example, for example, from Paris, where nobody expected that it will become a green city, that there will be streets without cars. So, of course, it will disturb a little bit the mentality. It will disturb public life, but the benefits are just not to count. So go for it, invest in it, and take the vision, because your sons and your, let's say, children of your children will be very grateful for it.
Thank you so much for the conversation. Jan Christoph Harder był naszym gościem. Dziękuję bardzo za uwagę. Do zobaczenia.
Okay.